Hey, this is Stephen M. Law with Outdo Life, and you are listening to the Be Best podcast, where we help you be your best, increase your potential, and bring out the best in those around you. Welcome to episode 15 of the Be Best podcast. Now, I hope you've been enjoying hearing about the journey I've been on through the last 10 years, and of course, the leadership lessons that I learned during those 10 years. But I want to tell you about my 6th year of being a youth pastor. It was right about then that I realized I was missing out on something important. See, I'd worked well to love my leaders, but the problem was actually the type of leaders that I was leading. Now, I'd grown up in youth groups where the majority of the leaders were all college-age young adults who, I'll be honest, they were a lot of fun. And while that's not a bad thing, I didn't realize how much following that same pattern would end up limiting my own potential for influence. Now, I mentioned a few episodes ago that I was focused on having fun with my students, but of course, fun wasn't my only goal. I wanted to have an impact on their lives. I said it at the very beginning of this entire podcast is that I wanted to change the world through the next generation. And that can't happen by just having fun. See, what I learned was that if I really wanted to have a great impact, I needed to go beyond the time that I was spending with them when they were just with me at church. I needed to meet them where they were at. Now, I want to make sure you understand this. This is true for any audience that you really want to impact. So don't just expect them to come to you. You have to be relatable by going where they are, no matter who your audience is. Find out where they like to be and go there. At first, I actually went to all their sports events, their plays, recitals, school parties, and really started being present wherever they were. But it just didn't seem like it was enough. I could only be so many places at the same time, and would showing up really make that much of a difference? Now, I have to say it did help. I had some great relationships and great time spent with them, and I'm glad that I was able to go. But what helped me more than anything else was the realization that I needed to partner with parents. See, whatever I did with them throughout the week was always going to be limited and small in comparison to the influence that their parents have with them. At best, I would get 2 to 3 hours with them throughout the whole week. But how many more hours would their parents, their family, be with them during that week? So this is what I realized. The best way that I could influence their future would be to partner with their greatest influence. Of course, I want to influence their future, so why wouldn't I partner with their greatest influence? So this wasn't an easy task to do. It meant that I was going to have to make some changes. So this is what I did. I started recruiting more parents. I asked them to be involved in the ministry. I made them my leaders. And like I mentioned in the last episode, I listened to them and I gave them ownership. But there was still a problem that I had to overcome. What about those kids that didn't want their parents in the room? Look, they've been with their parents all week long. Would they really want to have their parents in the same room as them when they're just trying to be with their friends and kind of get away for a little bit? Now, at first, you could see how this could be an issue. And what I noticed was that it was a sign that the relationship between the parent and the student could probably be a little bit better. So what I would do is ask them with some guidelines to give me a chance. And then what I would do is I would paint the parent as a hero to the students, to their other friends. Now, eventually what would happen is these students would see their parent doing so well with other students that it would start fixing the relationship. They would want to spend time with their parents. They're like, wait, that's my parent that you're having fun with. That's my dad. That's my mom. And suddenly they started getting along better. Almost every time it ended up being a win-win situation. So what I would recommend for you and for anybody that is trying to build influence with an audience is think about where that audience spends the most of their time. Can you partner and build influence there in that place? Now, for me, it was partnering with parents. But for you, maybe it's a business or a sports team. Maybe it's social media outlets. Don't limit yourself to thinking that the only way that you can influence them is by having them see you talk or be with you. See, true influence goes beyond the one-on-one conversation. It takes understanding your audience and being present when and where it matters most. And that's what I challenge you to do, because that is how you will multiply your influence. And that's how you can start making a change. So let's do this. Let's go out and change the world. Let's be best.
Thank you for listening to the Be Best podcast. If you are interested in learning more about Steven or partnering with him to outdo your life, head to www.outdo.life to see how he can help you get the best out of life.